Another engineering design standard I chose to do was NGSS 1-4. This standard is develop a model to generate data for interactive testing and modification for a proposed object, tool, or process such that an optimal design can be achieved. So the process for this experiment and science lesson is that students will make 2 parachutes each, whether it's an individual project or a group project. Each student will make 2 parachutes, or each group would make 2 parachutes. They are given a specific amount of materials. They can use however many of the materials they want. They just have to make 2 parachutes. The goal for each group or student is to have their parachute stay in the air the longest. The restrictions that are on this is that you do only get a certain amount of time to make those parachutes, and you can only test your parachute once before finally timing how long your parachute stays in the air. Questions that I would ask students as the teacher while they are creating the design or after they have tested their parachutes are why they chose the certain materials they did, why they chose to lay out their design a certain way, and what factors they think might affect the way the parachute falls. So air resistance is the big one that affects how the parachute falls, and gravity. And if the students decide to make any changes to their parachute, I would ask them why they chose to do that. And then finally, students can type up or write down their results, their findings, why they chose the parachute they did, what modifications they might have made. And then as a class, we could discuss and come up with a collective idea for a new parachute. And with everyone's new ideas, we could come up with one big parachute and make that as a class. So while my parents were dropping their parachutes and making their parachutes, we did come up with a few modifications that we thought might make the experiment better, such as having multiple people drop the parachute to make sure that it's fully open and expanded before it falls so it can catch the air. Another one is having other material to hold the parachute open. Dropping it from a higher height would also help if that's able to do in the school. And then we did find out that the longer the string from the parachute to the weight that's holding it helps it stay in the air longer, as well as we had to change the weight that we used to pull the parachute down because at first the nut was too heavy. So we used paper clips as the weight that pulled the parachute down. The relative science concepts that is for this standard is developing possible solutions. So students make many different types of parachutes with the materials given, and they are working to find the best solution that makes the parachute stay in the air as long as possible. So my parents will be making the parachutes. They will each make 2 parachutes dropped from the ceiling and see how long it takes. These are the materials that they'll get. So they'll each get 2 bandanas. They'll each get a plastic bag. These nuts will be used as the weight to pull the parachute down. They're all the same size and same weight. My parents will get scissors, rubber bands, string, paper clips, tissue, and paper towels. They can use as many materials as they want, however they want. They will be given 10 to 15 minutes to make their parachutes, and then we will test them. For the first parachute, they decided to both use the bandana, string, and the nut to weigh it down. My dad tied his string through the corners of the bandana, so he cut a hole in all 4 corners, while my mom paper clipped the string to the bandana. For our second trial runs, we have a paper bag with a rubber band and a paper clip. And now my dad's putting together a paper towel parachute. We did decide that the nuts were way too heavy of a weight, so we changed that to use the paper clips as weight. All right, test run for the white bandana and the paper clip.
Ready? Go.
1.1.
Now we have the shopping bag with a rubber band and paper clip.
Ready? Go.
Now we have the colorful bandana and paper clip.
Ready? Go.
1.03.
And finally the paper towels with the long string and paper clips.
Ready? Go.
2.2.